Really in a glass breaking.
You're in a glass breaking mood, aren't you? Yeah. So how many glasses is that? That's like 5 glasses that you've broken in.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like breaking through the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Breaking into a new dimension with it's clarity into a new dimension.
So it is late on Wednesday evening, February 7th. We finally are getting together. It's been a crazy couple of days. I've gone up to Cascais and back, which is about a 3-hour drive. So for you Canadians, it's like driving Edmonton to Calgary and back in a day. Not so bad, but I drove all the way up there for my immigration, which was wild because normally it takes 6 months to a year to get your appointments in with Seth in Portugal. And it was arranged within a week. All of a sudden, my immigration lawyer, and she said, "Oh my God, I've got an appointment for you." So we went all the way up there, waited 3 hours in the office, and it turned out their systems went down, all the electronics. Bugger. So they said, "Come back tomorrow." And we were getting our appointment ready to come back tomorrow. And then they looked at Linz's card and they said, "Oh no, he's Brexit. He's British. No, you don't do it at this office." And my immigration lawyer went, "What? I've been doing this for years. And it's always through Seth." And they said, no, we're starting a new program, doing a new system. And this is the way. So it was a totally different way. And so we had to drive all the way back. Anyways, as we're driving back, I was saying, Greg, working with you is a dangerous task. I tell you, I have never been in so many near miss accidents and, being followed and interference and oh my God. Anyway, so I'm driving back from Cascais. And Linz was sleeping. He actually had to come down to sign. So he's sleeping beside me. And a car, like a white van, came up on, this is in Portugal, so it's not like Britain, right? Not like where you are. It's the opposite. So it'd be more like North America. Driver is on the left-hand side, passengers on the right, right? So this big white van, the size of a bit bigger than an SUV, it comes up and it gets kind of close, and all of a sudden it slams on its brake and it swerves back, and it does a really crazy maneuver. It comes all the way around, comes up in front of me, and it pauses just for a second. I thought, this son of a bitch, he's going to come. And I could remote view, and I could see him grabbing his wheel. And sure enough, he grabs the wheel and he turns it quick, and he's ramming for the front of the car. Like he was aiming right for the front. I slam on the brakes just before he goes flying right past me. He misses me by like this much. Linz wakes up and goes, "What the heck?" Because I had to really slam on the brakes, and we're on a freeway, 3-lane freeway. He goes flying right through into the next lane. And I thought, well, do I stay here? He slows down. He looks at me. I'm looking over at them. There's 2 guys in a car. And he started to come back. And then it was like they decided, nope. And so they went back to that road. I then got behind them. But I'm not going to, I'm keeping in control here. I know where they're at, right? And if they stop, then I'm stopping. And all of a sudden they took a right off the next exit and they were gone. But I was like, oh, Jesus, Murphy, what was that all about? Meanwhile, we have cars all around us. It's busy, freeway. But yeah, they tried to take out the front of the bumper and get me spinning and out of control, right? So.
Yeah.
So that was my story. I lived another day.
Portugal's a dangerous place. It used to be entirely controlled by MI6. Now it's about 30% controlled by MI6.
Oh, I didn't know
Shit's
that.
up here. So that was yesterday, was it?
It was yesterday, on February 6th, which was my mother's birthday. She would have been 90 years old had she still lived. And she died funny, yeah. I always think that I've wondered if my mother was murdered, actually. I sound really paranoid, I know, but with all the work that I was doing with the pedophiles, I had so many death threats for 17 years, right?
Yeah.
I had the Pedophile Liberation Party of Europe threatened to pipe bomb me way back when.
Right, well, Charlie Boy will be associated with that.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's speak about Charlie Boy. Sure. Okay, so I was thinking actually let's talk about Charlie maybe in a different video. Shall we?
Well, he's supposedly in charge of MI6 or supposed to have nothing to do with MI6. And then you're overseas in a country controlled by MI6 and you're getting attacked just when putting a book out. It was supposed to come out that day.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was New Zealand Day, 6th of February as well. And I was from that country.
Yeah.
I think it's hyphenated, that word. And,
Well,
you get attacked there.
Yeah.
You get attacked there.
Well,
At the same place.
Lynn's had his head against the window and I had to hit the brakes so fast. And thank God I was able to remote view because I thought, oh my God, he's going to turn in front of me, because he came up really close and it was just in front of my bumper. And then all of a sudden he kind of swerved to the left and then really hard to the right. Like it was a deliberate trying to take out my front bumper. And thank God for the psychic abilities because I knew what he was going to do before he did it. And that saved me.
How big was the van?
A little bigger than an SUV. And it was white, nondescript.
Yeah. Did you know what make it was? Was it a recognizable make to you?
Like a Renault or something like that. I don't know. It was normally I see stuff like that. It was so fast in this one. And I was so taken back, shocked actually. I didn't look. Yeah. Normally I look and I'm pretty observant. This time it really took me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was.
Another job.
Yeah. And actually Portugal I find is really safe. I mean, we're probably one of the safest places on the planet, quite frankly. But that was rather suspicious, I gotta tell you. It got my adrenaline running. Yeah. Yeah. But I was laughing with you going, yeah, you're dangerous to work with, man.
People die around me, will sort of come really alive around me. So, and what's now with Charlie Boy on his way out, he's really into the whole death cult thing.
Well, especially, I've been saying for a long time that the Queen died long before we knew, and same with Charlie Boy. I think that Charlie's been gone like a couple of years. Because when you look back at the faces, I remember watching videos where people would take in the face of Charlie, from years back, and then put it on the actor's face, and you could tell, definitely an actor. The guy was not the same person, whether it's a mask or an acting, clone or whatever they are. Not the same person.
There's 7 or 8 different Charleses.
Are there?
Yeah. And I published it. And it's actually in the first chapter of the book. I've got a picture of Charles, Duke of Cornwall, and Charles, Prince of Wales, and the 2 completely different people. And they're both official photos.
Wow. Wow.
And so they're supposed to be the same person, and they weren't. So it's Charles, Duke of Cornwall, we call him Douche of Cornwall, and Charles, Prince of Wales were 2 different people. And then the Charles who was speaking at Davos was also a different person.
Yeah, that definitely was a different person.
I put up a lot of the different photos, and I published like 3 of them. Charles being, completely different people. But what's interesting now, like there were 4 Queen of Englands, cousins and twins, etc. And one of them might have been Winston Churchill's daughter as well. And there were 4 different 4 different coronation dresses made for Elizabeth in different sizes. What happened is they all had the coronation dresses made, and then they drew straws to see who would actually be crowned on the day, 2nd of June 1953. So it went to Elizabeth, whoever that is. But then the Elizabeth who was crowned wasn't the old lady Elizabeth we saw. And when we saw Queen Elizabeth, she had straight teeth, and then she had crooked teeth, and then she had straight teeth.
Yeah, we talked about that. And that's probably your sister, right?
Well, there's a twin, a cousin, and a half sister, and Winston Churchill's own daughter. So with Charlie Boy, there's many Charleses, but the point of it is that they're giving the space that takes up the Prince Charles, Duke of Cornwall, and the non-King Charles, who was crowned over, sitting over a sewage manhole cover, moving him, right? And moving him because there's some books coming out exposing the British royal family as a fraud back to 1603. And the person who did that is me. Publishing that is you, not New Zealand, and you had an attack by a military driver driving in a military style, an MI6 controlled country on New Zealand Day, the day the book was supposed to come out. About 6 different overlaps there.
Yep. Wow.
So it's Charlie goes in for prostate issue.
Yeah.
It turns into an unnamed cancer.
It's a form of cancer.
Oh,
They tell you what type. I mean, you think of any announcement anywhere, it's always got prostate cancer, or he's got lung cancer, or whatever it is. They always tell the type of cancer. But here they're saying it's a form. So is it the turbocharged cancer that is from the thing? I think what they're doing, well, it's being speculated by a couple of people online, and I think they're right. And that is that they're preparing people to, if the king, he's not the king, but if Prince Charles, if he was to actually have cancer, and then all of your friends are having cancer, it would be more acceptable, wouldn't it? Because, oh my God, the king had cancer. There must be something happening, right?
I know what you're saying there, but I think we've got more to the focus. We've got Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, resigning all of his royal positions on the 2nd of February.
Yep.
Got the non-King Charles, King Chuck him out. Is announcing that he's got cancer. Kate's in hospital because she really wanted to be queen, but William didn't. So they've muzzled Kate in hospital, and William's taking care of Kate in hospital until after Easter.
Yeah, 9 months, they're saying now with Kate. 9 months. Isn't that a pregnancy term?
So in that 9 months, we hopefully won't see her and her handbag.
Yeah.
Well, they were. And then I think we'll see the royals no longer, or the non-royals, no longer opening up charities and foundations, which are just money laundering outfits for drug trafficking and child trafficking and pedophilia. And I think what happened with Charles is he was really involved with death cult like Bank of International Settlements, COVID-19, which started as coronavirus on my behalf, the name, which meant he crowned him. It was an announcing coronavirus that we're crowning the new king, and it's been this whole process. And Charlie gets involved, and he backs the virus jab thing, and it's killing people. And it exposes Charlie Boy as a mass murderer, and he killed 25,567 people for his 70th birthday celebration on the week leading up to, on the 6 days leading up to his birthday, on the 18th of November, 2018. And that was the California fires, which were in Paradise, Helltown,
Paradise.
Paradise,
where?
Down at Deadwood. Paradise, Helltown, and Deadwood. Right? So, and the people there were just burned alive in their cars.
Yeah.
And about 95% of the whole town died because the first thing they did was set fire to trees and then cut them down over all the exit roads. And then they had the audacity to say, oh, no need to worry about the dead people because there are a bunch of aliens living there. Remember that rumor?
I do. I remember that.
And then they were confusing the fires. Okay, these are California fires. And then they're showing you fires just above Hollywood and Burbank, right? Which was just literally smoke screens. And the actual fires in Paradise, Helltown, and Deadwood were about another 400 miles north.
Yeah.
Completely separate fires.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the fires around Burbank, the helicopters and the firemen were actually, they had kerosene coming out of their little planter watering bottles, and there
Well,
were fires everywhere.
yeah, I don't know about that, but I know that definitely the direct energy weapons were used there because it was so obvious. That was one of the first times that we could see that the house had been burnt out, but the tree right beside it was still alive and the car was untouched. How
Yeah.
could, a forest fire comes in and sweeps in, right? A lot of people don't know. I don't know if you even know. I'm a marine industrial firefighter. I took my PMT firefighting ticket when I was in my 20s, and I know fires. I fight fires that are 6 feet up tall, helicopter fires, levees. I can fight them all. And a fire does not act like that. It doesn't. It normally comes in and swoops and comes through. But this was, in a neighborhood, it would take out all the houses and leave the backyards clear. And the trees all around it were still alive. And the cars were untouched.
But here's the telltale sign. Like, I think what happened was that Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, Charles Duke of Cornwall, they said to him, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he said, "I want one person dead in paradise for every day I've been alive."
Wow.
And that's what happened, right? And then he celebrated the 6 days of fire in paradise with all the people burning in the London Palladium. And he had Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson,
Yeah.
who was the MC, right?
Mhm.
Doing the MC, and he says, and he's dressed as the devil, right?
Mhm.
And he says, right, all those people who like the life of Brian can go to hell.
I remember that. You actually showed me that video. I was shocked. I had never seen that video before because he did it twice. He did it in the 80s or 90s, and then he did it again more recently.
Yeah, accurately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they introduced sooty and sweep, right? Now, what do you have after a fire? You've got soot
Ash.
and you sweep it up, right?
Yeah.
Now, sooty and sweep were two glove puppets invented on the day that Prince Charles was born,
Wow.
right? So they came out sooty and sweep, two glove puppets. Yakky, yakky, yakky. So the two glove puppets, sooty and sweep, come on straight after the fire, the human sacrifice that burned 25,567 people, the same number of days that Prince Charles was alive.
Wow.
Does that sound macabre and sick to you?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You know?
Well, there's also a lot to be said about Charles being involved with the murder of the witness in Kamloops, right? The 10 children that went missing of the Kamloops residential school in 1964. And there was a lot of evidence. Well, first of all, there was a lot of evidence about Queen Elizabeth and Philip taking these 10 kids. And it was going to trial in Geneva. And then mysteriously, the one surviving witness who was in the hospital, ended up being hospitalized, was killed while in the hospital. And the nurse that was tending to him was saying that no, he was in fine condition. He was healthy. And she's one of the first to say he was murdered. Yeah. So you were saying that Charles was most likely involved with that as well.
Look, I wasn't saying that. You're saying that.
Oh, okay.
Only a shit woman.
No, I had heard it, and I thought I had heard it from you. Because there were a lot of people that were starting to say Charles was involved with that. And then all of a sudden, shortly after that, rumors being spread, he had cancer.
Right. He's heavily involved in the death cult, like Bank of International Settlements, wars, the vaccines, the coronavirus scam, etc., and all the suicides that went with that. And he's on the list of Epstein Island as and the Prince.
Mm-hmm. So that isn't Prince Randy Andy?
No, there's Prince Andrew and the Prince. Right? right? And those two guys never got along. Well, they're only half brothers, but officially brothers. But
How are they half brothers?
at least Andrew likes 17-year-old girls.
Mm.
I reckon Charles is into things that are a lot younger.
Well, I think they were 14 actually that Andrew was involved in.
Is that right? So right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
No,
correct.
it's still, yeah.
Now, I want to get something straight about Prince Andrew. I was having a drink with someone in the military,
Okay.
right? And it was a good drinking session. And it lasted about 6 hours, or maybe 4. And he drank 8.5 beers, and I drank 5.5. There's a lot of drinking, and we talked the shit.
Yep.
Right? We talked all the stuff from the different points of view from the Antipodes, blah blah blah. And I pulled him up on one thing, and he pulled me up on one thing, and the rest of it was we were continuing each other's stories.
Wow.
And one of the things that he brought up was that in the Falklands War, Prince Andrew only ever made it to Ascension Island, which was 4,000 miles north of the Falkland Islands, right?
Yeah.
And in Ascension Island, Prince Andrew was beaten up by his own crew because he was such a twat. And no one was charged, no one went to the brig for it because Prince Andrew is such a twat. And then Prince Andrew, in his sweaty interview, his car crash interview, he says, I was shot at in the Falkland Islands. No, he wasn't. He was 4,000 miles away, never even landed on the Falklands. It's just full of shite. It was just full of shite.
Wow. Well, I think the whole royal family is.
We can do some random stuff. I'll bring out some other stuff.
Okay.
So I got a degree in architecture between 1980 and 1985. So it was like a 5-year degree. I took half a year off, so I ended up being 5.5 years, but that half year didn't count, so I had to do it again. Those 6 months. So I got a degree in architecture, and then I practiced organic architecture and healthy architecture, and I was doing handmade everything, handmade trusses, handmade brackets, handmade doors, handmade floors. The old European floors with secondhand bricks. So it was 100 pumice, 4,000, 5,000 empty wine bottles washed and recorked, then pumice, and then sand, and then secondhand bricks, and then finished with beeswax and eucalyptus oil, etc., and adobe and rammed. So I was doing organic architecture. And then Prince Charles starts talking about organic architecture. But he's too lazy and dumb to get a degree. But he wanted to be the King of England. So he would find out who the King of England was, hey-ho, hey-ho, and then imitate him.
Yep.
Right? And try and steal his identity, which is what Charles was doing. Now, the reason that Rowan Atkinson dressed as Toby the Devil with Prince Charles in the audience and said, all right, all those people who like Monty Python and the Life of Brian, you go to hell. The reason for that is in the Life of Brian, in the lounge scene, when Brian is with his girlfriend in his mother's living room and he opens up the shutters and there's 1,000 people there going, Brian, Brian, Brian. Well, no, what happened was when he closes the shutters and there's like 30 people in his living room, this woman tugs on his sedon, which is his white gown. Sedon's the name of the good white gown. And she says, heal me, Greg. Right? And that pissed off Charles no end. Right? Because Christ is the title. Christ is automatically the King of England. Charles wanted to be the King of England, but England hasn't officially existed since 1603, and we've had all these illegal terms like Britain, Brittaine, Britannia, Britanne, and United Kingdom of Great Britain, with Great Britain written as one word. Great Britain's hyphenated, and always the U in United is lowercase. So all these terms have not been legal since 1603. So the last time we had a monarch was Queen Elizabeth I of England.
But they don't even have the right stone as well.
Stone either. They're getting crowned over a sewage manhole cover, right? So
Are you kidding me?
yeah, it's a sewage manhole cover. Yeah, that's why he's King Charles III.
Oh, come on, you be nice.
King Charles III.
God.
He's a reenactment of King James the Shit. Who is it's actually called James Shit.
Really?
He never showered. So
Yeah.
he's James the Sixth of Scotland, supposedly, but he's actually never crowned.
Mhm.
He was never King James VI, King of Scots. He was never that. And he King James the First of England.
Yeah.
Were existed then. Because he was not the person who was crowned King James VI of Scotland, and they couldn't make him King James I of England, so they invented this false name of an invented country called Britain, Brittaine, and then they called him King James VI of Britain, and then his Lord Chancellor, Sir Francis Bacon, Viscount Bacon, pointed out that Britain was not a legal term, sir. Your Grace, Britain, it's not a legal term. You're the king of nothing. Right? And that's what Charles is as well. He's king of the
Nothing.
Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern
Well, he's
Ireland.
not the king. I've sticking to my guns because I remember thinking I muscle tested probably about a year and a half ago. Will Charles be crowned king? Will he actually be the king of England? And I keep getting a no, and I still hear a no. He's not the actual king of England.
No, it's me.
Yeah, I guess it is, right? Yeah.
That's why he's acknowledged me. He's been acknowledged me all his life. Like, he's talking about organic architecture. I actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I write to him and say I've got the coronation stone, and he ignores it because he doesn't want to incur the wrath of God and be crowned as a fake king over a fake country with a fake name.
Okay, so there's going to be people out there who are going to go, he ignored it because he's thinking you're a nut bar, Greg.
No one thinks
What do you say to that?
no one thinks that. They're way over the nut bar stage. Like the nut pages in the Hidden King of England, they're shit scared of that. They killed the publisher, and now I've written another 15 books.
And they tried to kill this publisher. Yeah.
And they go, hang on a minute. So now they're going, hang on a minute. All the stuff that he said is true when we actually look at it and listen. So what they do is they get all the nut bars on the internet who are working for Charles. The whole of the internet's just this massive counterintelligence exercise funded by Camilla Parker Bowles' Northern Bank robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Charles is sick, Camilla's not taking over because I've exposed her as being the head of the Northern Bank robbery, which is the biggest robbery in the UK history, using her ex-husband and her brother. They killed the brother.
Mm-hmm.
And the two patrons of the money.
So what was her participation in it? Because I thought it was the brother and the
story, and you interrupted.
I know. Sorry. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
Good, please. Thanks. So Charles used the Bin Laden brothers to launder the money into the Elephant family. It's just called Elephant Family, and it's a foundation trust or whatever. And then Camilla and Charles are the royal patrons of that money, so they get to show where it's spent. And it gets spent in the counterintelligence on social media, right? So what happens now on social media, which is kind of what we're doing now, is that when you tell the truth, you get 1,000 views. And if you tell lies, you get 30,000 views. So I just put out a video. I usually get at least 1,000 views in a day. And the latest one I've got less than 500 views.
Yeah, they're reducing it.
So Camilla can't come forward because I've exposed her as being involved in the Northern Bank robbery, which is the biggest bank robbery in the UK history. And Prince William says he doesn't want to become king because he doesn't want to be the head of the Church of England. That's not the reason. Kate really wants to become the queen, so they've stuffed her in hospital and silenced her. And then they've got William attending to Kate. So they're basically muzzling Kate. William doesn't want to be king of whatever it is, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, because he recognises that he's King Juan Carlos's father, the son. And Prince William looks nothing like King Chuck. Nothing like him at all. Just there's nothing there. I did a meme of them, of Prince William, Prince Harry, and Prince Charles, and I call them the unlikes. There's nothing there at all. And Charles is no royal blood at all. He's just an absolute commoner, and he comes from about 10 generations of illegitimate bastards, and also Rothschild blood thrown in. So the Rothschilds took over the British royal family in 1815 with the Battle of Waterloo, with the British royal family gambled all their money and lost. So they couldn't afford to do anything. So they had to borrow money for their weddings off the Rothschilds. So the Rothschilds said to the Duke of Kent and Strathern, I will fund your wedding to Princess Louise if we get the breeding rights. So it ended up that the French Baron Jacob Mayer Rothschild bred Queen Victoria. And thereafter, the Rothschilds have had breeding rights, and they've bred 3 or 4 times, including Queen Victoria, and then they bred Queen Victoria's 9 official children.
So they're all Rothschilds then?
Yeah, they're all illegitimate Rothschilds. They're Rothschild bastards. Rothschild, but in royal circles, it's called Batard, darling, Batard. But in the, with Rothschild's breeding, it's just bastards. They're just Rothschild bastards, right? So what happened is the founder of the Rothschild family, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, he's the patron. He had this prophetic dream in, I think it was 1785, that his seed would breed into the British royal family for 200 years. So Queen Victoria was born in 1819, plus 200 years is 2019. Yeah. So his dream was, Mayer Amschel Rothschild's dream was 1785, and it would start at the time of his death, which is 1812. Hence, you've got the 1812 overture, and then by the time they had a stillborn in like 1817, Battle of Waterloo 1815, stillborn in 1817, 18, and then Queen Victoria born in 1819. There's the count. 200 years is 2019, so we're only 5 years behind. And his dream said the Rothschilds would have control of the British royal family for 200 years and not much more. So that's all happened.
So what do you think about Charles then? Let's go back to present day. What do you think about Charles with this cancer thing? Why do you think they're choosing cancer, and why do you think that they're doing this at this time?
Because it's an undefined cancer, and they can keep him alive indefinitely, whether he's dead already or not. And if there's 7 or 8 different Charles, and some of them are alive and some of them are dead. But what they're doing is they're doing a soft abdication, because what's happened is 2 people have presented to the correct people, to the high orders, that they've fulfilled the prophecies to reclaim the throne as the king of the Kingdom of England and the king of the Kingdom of Scotland. And that's been accepted.
And that's you and King David.
Yeah. So that's the high orders have instructed the British royal family to stand down.
Now, the high orders are not the elite, like the Cabal or the Illuminati or any of that.
When keep it seemly, keep it clean. The high orders are the esoteric high orders, the people who follow and monitor, who know the prophecies, follow them and monitor them. And when someone says that they're fulfilling or have fulfilled the prophecy, they know the prophecy. So they know everything about the person or people, 2 people fulfilling the prophecy. They know what they should look like, where they should come, what their capabilities are, what their skin color is, what the color of their feet is, what their gait should be, what their talents are, what their eye color is, what their hair color is.
Wow.
Everything about them, right? And so if you come along and say, look, I've fulfilled this prophecy, they just look at you and go, yeah, it's definitely not a no, and we're still listening.
Mhm.
Right? So that's what happened. The prophecies have been fulfilled, and now they are being fulfilled.
Mhm. Yeah, it's an exciting time. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about Charles, though? Because there seems to be a lot of interest, and I don't hear much dissension. I don't hear much. There seems to be a lot of people buying into the whole he has cancer,
Done it.
concept.
I haven't done it. We've just done it. Let people
Yeah.
think I've just said. You talk all you like, but I've just said it. I'll ring back in about 5 minutes.
Okay, bye.